Dear God, I often wonder, does Islam need us, or do we need Islam? You've made it very clear to me. We need Islam. You've made many things clear to me. We can never compel others to believe. We are responsible for believing in your message and for struggling in your cause. If we don't, then we will be replaced by those who love you more and whom you love. We need Islam. I've always thought about working for you, even when the order was to become a doctor or an engineer. I knew when I stepped into your house in 1978 that my life would change forever. I could have destroyed myself with empty pursuits of pleasure, but you decided to save me from the path of delusion and the one mired with religious sloganism and Middle East madness. One that insults Islam more than 1,000 Salman Rushdies, and one that was taking more of our children away from Islam than keeping them in. We needed a rational voice for rational people, and you gave us the Muslim Public Affairs Council as the vehicle for change. It was, and still is, the little engine that could.
The Affairs Council is a public service agency aimed at disseminating accurate information about Islam and about Muslims throughout the world. We, the American Muslim community, are that voice of moderation that people keep asking about.
What are you doing to regain the trust of the American people?
Reham, even before the State of the Union,
America has to take leadership on this issue because we have the ability to really bring the people together.
From its inception, the Muslim Public Affairs Council dealt with serious challenges. One Middle East disaster after another, political exclusion, character assassination by others, and charges of apostasy by our own. But throughout these challenges, you strengthened our resolve and our status. You made us durable, withstanding any external threat and internal shortcoming. You gave us many gifts, the pearls of wisdom from Dr. Maher Hathout, the fascination of Americans who never heard of a credible Islamic voice that spoke to their true reassurance and their aspirations for religious freedom and coexistence, for emancipation of Muslim women, for an antidote to Muslim extremism. Islam. That is the message of the Muslim Public Affairs Council, an Islam that empowers all who believe in a better life for humanity, an Islam that is the light for Muslims, taking them out of darkness, an Islam for humanity, an Islam by Americans for America.
You can see that the world is changing. In order to stay current, we need to start reflecting an image that is different than what has been perpetuated in the past, because representation matters, images matter, and it's a direct reflection into our society. I fell in love with MPAC, with the Young Leaders Summit, and that they will bring their students to CBS, and I will have executives from all over the corporation talk about our respective roles and really trying to gauge where they are. We have the saying, if you can see it, you can be it.
The door is now open. Tell your story. If this story doesn't represent you, what story does? If there isn't one out there, create it.
When you see a Muslim character or certain stock kind of characterizations that people might fit into, vast majority of Muslims in the world aren't any of those things.
We need to be engaging in these conversations. We need to create these open dialogues where not only are we armed with the right kind of information to disseminate, but we're also creating an environment where people aren't afraid to ask.
So to have an organization like MPAC where if questions come up or there's information we need or we need to educate ourselves, there are people that we can reach out to and help us tell the story effectively and honestly.
We have done so much, yet we remain in our infancy. O Lord, forgive us for our inability to convince others of this message. They love our message, and that is due to your enlightenment, but they don't know what to do with it in the current conditions and circumstances. Many of us still look to the East for legitimacy, and we flounder as foreign enclaves and psychological ghettos suffocate us. We as American Muslims don't believe in our own legitimacy, in bringing Islam to relevance and respect in America, not reduced to a nuisance or raised to a threat. American Muslims want civil rights but don't know how to embrace civic responsibilities, the most effective way to solidify our place in America. The Muslim Public Affairs Council is designed to help American Muslims and non-Muslims, not one at the exclusion of the other. Help us help ourselves, our Lord, in realizing our dream of American Muslims enriching America.
Muslim American community is in the same place that a lot of other communities where if there's no Muslim American voice, there's a lot of other voices that are going to fill in the void. It's important to have a Muslim American voice that is heard and respected in Washington, which I think MPAC is. I've been involved in multiple events with MPAC. I've read their publications. I know their personnel. It's, I think, by far the most credible organization representing Muslim Americans in the United States.
Tolerance is not enough, and America needs mutual respect because we need mutual reliance. And it begins with trying to walk in somebody else's shoes authentically and legitimately and being able to relate to them. Christians and Muslims will disagree about the divinity of Christ, whether he has it or not. And what I love about working with MPAC is that we can come together, acknowledge that irreconcilable difference because we share things like compassion and peace and mercy and justice and love. That's what's so powerful about MPAC.
When we are vital to America's success, that is when we will begin to see anti-Muslim hysteria subside. That is when we will see our children be proud of being Muslim. That is when the positive stories about Muslims outweigh the negative. That is when policymakers will respect us and have to answer to us. That is when our alliances will have a permanent place in the U.S. political landscape. That is when Islam will be known for what it is, not what it isn't. For all that change to happen, we have to change ourselves first. Oh God, help us change the Muslim Public Affairs Council to be a force and not just a little engine. Help the staff see the beauty of their work. Help the board see the vision of their organization and the value they afford to America. Help the community see the need for the Muslim Public Affairs Council and the openings for their participation. Help our allies gain strength in their voices on our behalf. Help America see how much greater it can be by accepting Muslims as equals and as stakeholders in this great American project. Help our children remain hopeful for a better future for Islam in America.